Hello, Klein Intermediate. Today is Monday, October 5th. This is Ms. Casanova, and this is your character and lesson for today, Soaring in Klein Intermediate. The objective for today is students will demonstrate an ability to participate respectfully and responsibly in an online community. You guys will create and contribute to an original collaborative project using digital media to inspire a positive call to action. Your guiding question for today is, how can I protect myself and others from things posted or shared online? Our SOAR value focus for today is safety. So let's start with this lesson, but before, I'm going to give you a reminder. Some expectations. Everyone should have received this information last week, including your parents. All right, so we send out these new expectations or updated Zoom expectations because we needed to increase our online safety. Okay, and not only that, but we also have been visiting classrooms and we see that sometimes the student engagement is not up to par. So what we need you guys to do starting today, which means that you already went to first period and second period, so you should have already put these things in place because I sent you guys a reminder today at 8 a.m. So starting today, your cameras must be on, okay? So your camera has to be turned on and your face has to be showing in every single class. If a student does not turn on the camera, they will be moved to the waiting room. Okay, so this is the new expectation. Your camera has to be turned on and your face must be showing. Your name, your first name and last name has to be displayed before you enter your class in Zoom. If your teacher doesn't recognize that name, you're not going to be able to enter the class. Okay, so I know that sometimes you guys want to use your nicknames or other names that you probably go by, but your first and last name has to be displayed before your teacher allows you in the room. You must dress appropriately and you must use school appropriate language verbally when your teachers are allowing you to have a discussion or share something, and also in a chat. So make sure that your language is appropriate for school. Okay, so now we can start our lesson for today. The first 2 weeks of school, we went over our SOAR values. And since today we're talking about safety, we need to recap some things so that you guys understand why we need to be mindful of the things that we're posting and also mindful of using only our accounts. Okay, so let's watch this video, then we're going to have a class discussion.
Think before you share! The web connects us all,
and allows us to share in ways we have never before been able to.
whether through social media posts, comments,
or even videos.
We can reach friends near and far with just a click.
But what you share on the web and who you share it with can end up saying a lot about you.
And can become a part of your life story. You can't control information once it's out there in the world.
What you post or send can easily be forwarded, copied, or found by other internet users.
Including strangers.
Or people you know who aren't necessarily your friends.
Other people's impressions of you can change based on what you share.
And posting inappropriate information can have negative consequences you may not have considered. That can mean impacting your place on the soccer team, summer job opportunities,
or even one day, what college you go to.
The internet is an awesome tool for having fun and making new friends. But with great power comes great responsibility.
So use your power for good. You could just as easily lose friends as make them, based on how you manage your reputation online.
So don't forget
to think before you share.
All right, so we've seen in the video that you guys have to think before you share. And this is something that we cannot stress enough, because although some people will share something positive, there are some other people that will share things that are negative. Okay, so that's what we need to eliminate. If you're sharing something, and I know that you've heard the phrase before, if you have nothing good to say or nice to say, don't say anything at all. Okay, it is the same with social media and us posting things. If you have nothing nice to say, just leave it alone. Don't post your comment. Just keep it to yourself and move on. All right, so we need to be mindful of that, because like it said on the video, whatever you post online, it stays there. Your pictures, if you share something, somebody can get a hold of that picture and share it with everybody else. All right, so we always need to think before we post. So discuss in your class with your teacher and your classmates things that might have happened to you already, that probably somebody shared something that belonged to you, or something that wasn't even true about you. Or if you're the one that has done that, well, discuss as to why you found the need to share something like that. Okay, so I'll give you a minute or two to have a class discussion, and then we can continue on. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys are having meaningful discussions. I know that most of you use social media. You have your Instagram, your Snapchat, your TikTok. I know you guys don't use Facebook because you think Facebook is for old people like me. I do have a Facebook, but I know you have the other social media outlets. All right, so we already talked about private information and personal information in a previous lesson, and we just need to remind ourselves of the things that we can share, that it is okay to share, and things that we shouldn't be sharing. All right, so private information is information about you that can be used to identify you because it is unique to you. Okay, for example, your full name or your address. In the case of our school, your ID number, okay, your email address. Those are private information. That's private information that you should not be sharing with other people. Okay, you don't want people to know your address. You don't want people to know your ID number, and you don't want people to know your login information to your computer, to your Google account, to your Schoology account. Okay, personal information, that's information about you that cannot be used to identify you, because it is also true for many other people. For example, your hair color, okay, or the city that you live in, okay, what school you go to. That's personal information. Okay, anybody can come to Klein Intermediate. Anybody can have black hair. Anybody can live in Houston. So that's personal information that people are not going to use to identify a specific person. But your private information, your name, your address, your login information to our Chromebooks, that is private and should never, ever be shared. Safety, safety, safety. Safety is our SOAR value, and we cannot stress it enough that we need to be safe, that all of you need to be mindful of everything that you guys are doing in these Chromebooks, what you're sharing on your social media, what you're typing in your emails. Okay, we live and interact daily in a digital world. Just look at us right now. I'm teaching you or facilitating this lesson through Zoom, which is part of the digital world. Therefore, we are all digital citizens, okay? But how we should act and behave in this world is not always clear, especially to students. Sometimes, even though we go through lesson after lesson after lesson about safety and the proper ways to use social media or to use any type of digital platform, sometimes things don't get clear or we tend to forget. Okay, now what are some of the things that you have experienced? You've been in school for almost 5 weeks. Okay, so what are some of the things that you have experienced, either that you have experienced it because somebody else is doing it, or that you have done that is probably not very appropriate, that does not reflect SOAR values of Klein Intermediate? I'm going to give you a minute or two so you can discuss with your classmates and your teacher if any of these things that you have experienced are either positive or negative. As you had the time to discuss things that you have experienced, or maybe if it was you, the person doing something that was not very appropriate, that you reflect on the things that are being shared, and that you also think about our SOAR values, okay? Because these SOAR values is to help you build character, okay? It is the foundation of everything else that you're set to do as a person, okay? So let's move on. And now we're getting into that digital part of your Chromebooks, okay? I've shared this enough during our lunches in the cafeteria. I give you reminders. I've shared this during orientation 2 weeks ago when we did the lesson with the administrators. I've been sharing this about Bark, okay? So we monitor everything that happens in your Chromebooks, not only as the administrators, but also our Klein police, okay? So that means that anything that is inappropriate that you're doing in your Chromebooks, that if you're Googling something, if you're sending an email, if you're writing something on the chat, anything that is not school appropriate gets picked up, okay, gets detected, and then we get a notification. After that, we review what's happening with that student. We call them in, or if it's something that is really inappropriate, we have to contact the parents, and sometimes we even have to contact our Klein police, okay? So I want you guys to always remember this when you're using these Chromebooks, that you're not supposed to be using them for things that are inappropriate. This is your school device. Anything that you do in these Chromebooks has to be school appropriate, okay? So make sure that you're always mindful of these things, mindful of the things that we share with you, because we don't remind you about Bark or about us being able to monitor your Chromebooks just because. We do it because we don't want you guys to be in trouble and also to get disciplined, okay? All right, so, and like I said, we live in a digital world. Can you believe that 458 minutes, that's how much time the average teen spends using media each day, okay? And because we spend so much time, we have to be smart and effective participants in this digital world. So let's watch this video, then, like always, we'll have a class discussion.
$458 minutes. Did you know that's how much time you spend using media each day? 7 hours and 38 minutes. Imagine how that adds up over a week, a month, a year. Being connected, being online, it's what we do. We're all digital citizens, but what does that mean? Is it like being a citizen of a country or state? Are there internet police that'll track us down for breaking a law? Are there even any laws to break? The answer is both yes and no. Not everything online is just like the offline world. That doesn't mean it's a free-for-all either. You're part of a digital community, and that comes with certain rights and responsibilities. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Most rights and responsibilities are universal, like equality, freedom of speech or religion, or just being who you are. As citizens, we want to exercise our rights safely and responsibly. Respect the rights of others. and be a force for good so we can make the community better. Being a digital citizen is also about knowing how your behavior affects your digital interactions and how to take charge of your online presence. Part of taking charge is understanding what you're watching and reading. There's a lot of information out there, some good, some bad. So knowing what's what is important. We all participate in a variety of digital communities and in many different ways. You're probably more casual on social media than you would be on a bulletin board at school or for a class project, and that's okay. It's just like being offline. You behave as expected for the situation. But that doesn't mean you can forget about the fundamental need to be smart, fair, and considerate. After all, each of your online interactions builds your digital reputation, and you want to be known as a good digital citizen, don't you? So, how are you going to spend your 458 minutes today?
Okay, so how are you going to spend your 458 minutes today? The choice is always yours, okay? You can either do something positive or something negative, but always understand that every action has a reaction. And I reminded you about that in our previous lesson, okay? So make sure that you think before posting and that whatever you're posting is something that it's meaningful and it's positive and it's not gonna hurt or diminish or offend somebody else, okay? Especially when you're commenting or posting things about other people. So how do you socialize or interact online? Okay, I want you guys to discuss as to what do you use the most. Do you use Snapchat? Do you use Instagram, TikTok? How do you socialize and interact online? And why do you choose one application over the other? Okay, let's take a minute or two to discuss and then we'll continue with the lesson. And the reason I ask you, how do you socialize and interact online, is because now we're going into a more serious topic, which is bullying, teen life, and drama. Yes, I'm talking about drama, middle school drama. Okay, so drama tends to go hand in hand with teen life, and we understand it, okay, especially in the digital space. But students may not always be aware of when it crosses the line and becomes cyberbullying, okay? And that's something that we need to review time and time again. Why? Because it is true. Sometimes you don't realize when you have crossed the line from saying what you think to bullying another person, okay? So we're going to explore the various aspects of bullying, drama, and conflict, okay? Being bullied, teased, or picked on happens every day in schools, but that doesn't mean that it's okay or can't be changed, okay? So forms of bullying. Let's discuss in your class what are some forms of bullying that you have seen or that you think it is bullying or you have experienced. Let's take a minute or two. Okay, so as you're discussing the bullying side and the drama side, it's important that we know who is our support system, okay? You have your counselors here in school. You have your administrators. If you see that someone is constantly telling you things or posting things online about you, tell us, okay? Because we want to make sure that you feel safe. And when it comes to drama, because this is middle school, and for some reason, you guys pay too much attention to whatever is posted on social media. You guys need to understand and always know that you are in control of your social media, okay? Which means that if somebody is posting things about you or commenting on the things that you're posting, the easiest way to avoid that person is by blocking them. You have control over that, okay? You control who is part of that group of friends that you're sharing your things on social media, and who is not. So make sure that you are utilizing those features on those applications, because that's how you can put a stop to people who are not welcome, who are not beneficial to your life, and who don't bring anything positive to you. Okay? We already discussed what social media you used, but now we need to talk about what does it mean to be a responsible digital citizen. And I've already given you different scenarios and giving you different tips of the things that you need to do and shouldn't be doing. So by now, you should pretty much have an idea of what a responsible digital citizen means. Okay, and what rights and responsibilities do I have as a digital citizen? Everyone is a digital citizen. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're 10 years old, 12, 14, 20, 25, 30, doesn't matter. Kids as well as adults. Anyone that uses digital media is a digital citizen. So discuss in your class, what rights and responsibilities do I have, or do you have, okay, as a digital citizen? And what does it mean to be a responsible digital citizen? Let's take a minute or two so we can have a class discussion, and then we're gonna move on to an activity. Okay, so what is right? We're gonna read different scenarios, okay? And you're gonna have a few minutes to discuss after each scenario if this is an example of being a good digital citizen, and you have to justify your answer, why or why not. What are the rights and responsibilities being demonstrated or not in each scenario? What possible consequences, good and bad, may occur because of the actions in each scenario? And what will you do differently, if anything, to make this scenario an example of being a good digital citizen? So I'm gonna start with number one. Melissa took photos at a party last week. Shania posts the photos she thinks she looks great in on Instagram. Then she tags other friends who are in it. So read the scenario again and then have a class discussion. The questions are down below. Okay, and now that you took some time to discuss in your classroom, you can move on to the next scenario. Okay, on this one it says, people are posting rude and hurtful comments on pictures Alyssa posted on her Instagram. She doesn't want to come to school anymore. Let's pause the video so you have time to read the questions and have a class discussion. Okay, remember, you have to reflect on these actions, because this could be either you or somebody you know, or one of your friends that is going through this or is doing this. Okay, so make sure you are having meaningful discussions. Okay, the next one says, Andre updates his social media status with a post that brags about how he got a pack of smokes, even though he doesn't smoke and he's underage. So pause the video, look at the questions, and have a discussion. Okay, on this scenario, it says James takes a photo of his test in science class. At lunch, he shares the photo to his friends in the cafeteria. Let's pause the video, go through the questions, and have a discussion. Okay, the next scenario says, Paris sends an email to her friend telling her to meet after class to beat up a girl who she thinks is stealing her boyfriend. Let's pause the video, read the questions again, and have a discussion. Okay, John and Jamarian got into a fight. A group of students recorded the fight and posted it on social media. Let's have a discussion about this scenario. Janelle is browsing the internet for inappropriate pictures. She sends the pictures to another student. Pause the video and discuss this scenario. Okay, and now that you have the opportunity to go over different scenarios and see what was good, what was bad, how can they acted differently, or what could have they done to make a negative into a positive, I want all of you guys to think before you post. Think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So our SOAR value in action is about safety, and we want all of you to post an encouraging or positive quote or image on your social media, okay? And hashtag sharing positivity in Klein Intermediate, okay? Whether you're using Instagram or you're using Snapchat or you're using Twitter, make sure that you're tagging us, okay? I am going to post our Klein Intermediate social media names so that you can tag us, and also hashtag sharing positivity in Klein Intermediate. And I'm going to share my encouraging or positive post. In Klein Intermediate, remember that we soar towards safety, that anytime we talk about safety, we're talking about protecting yourself and your friends, committing to doing the right thing, being a mentor and bring others up. Be aware, think before doing, which means think before posting, okay? Soaring digitally, maintaining social distancing, washing your hands and disinfecting your devices. Think before you posting, and only use accounts that belong to you. Okay, so until next week, which next week we're going to talk about embracing diversity, because it's the last week of Hispanic Heritage Month, and we want to invite everyone to have one day where you can represent a culture. It doesn't have to be your own culture. If you want to represent another culture, go for it. Okay, so next week, embrace diversity, talking about respect. So I'll see you guys. Bye.